the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Well, the cleanup effort continues after storms swept through the area this weekend and power outages still lingering. How long it could be until power's turned back on.
Also ahead on DC News Now at noon, stretching your dollar and ensuring you're insured. The policy information to cover your losses coming up.
And you can clearly see the images right there, folks. The cleanup continues after a very stormy weekend, but will we have some quiet conditions to pick up the pieces a little bit for the next few days? We'll have your forecast in just a bit.
Hey, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for DC News Now at noon. I'm Mark Hall. Let's start with a live look outside. I believe we're going to take a look at the Kennedy Center. No, I believe is at Roslyn. And again, Damon just talked a few moments ago about the importance of cleanup and recovery efforts after severe storms over the weekend. We saw trees down. We saw power outages for thousands of people across the region. Again, meteorologist Damon Matson joins us now. And Damon, you mentioned in the show open, will the weather cooperate today to allow folks to continue with those cleanup efforts?
Yeah, and at first it didn't seem like it, Mark. This morning we had additional showers and storms that rolled through, made things a little bit soggy. Yes, indeed. But it looks like as we get into the rest of the day, we're good to go. And that is some very good news because there are still power outages being talked about out there across mostly the heart of the DC metro area. Within DC itself, these are some of our estimates here within our graphic of the amount of power outages that still are in place here. 2,000 households still within Washington, DC without power. The same for Montgomery County. Now, Fairfax County, a great improvement there to 600. Now, I just saw this number jump up for Prince George's County back up to 7,000. Either way, we are still talking about the need for some quieter conditions for the crews to get out there, clean things up, and get power restored to the entire DMV as we move into the start of this new week. And again, this morning, Mother Nature didn't want to cooperate, at least at first, as those showers moved through. But ever since that sun came up, those showers have departed, and we are looking at very quiet and clear conditions. And you may have also noticed it's starting to feel a lot better out there, folks. Behind all of this storminess, we finally have brought back some cooler and drier air to the region, and that's what's going to continue to help keep things quiet as well. So a pretty good cycle starting up here of some nicer weather going to stick with us here through much of this week. Here we are, the rest of your afternoon, some passing clouds, a couple of showers will be down towards southeastern Virginia, but those should miss the DMV altogether. And look at the temperatures. This is where we are making that great improvement. After being all the way up in the upper 90s late last week, we're back to the mid-80s. That is all the warmer it's going to be with that lower humidity in place. So how long does this nice weather last, and should we expect some storm chances to return later this week? We'll have your full forecast in just a bit.
All right, Damon, thank you. And people across the DMV are feeling the impacts of the weekend storm. DC News Now's Lex Juarez has the latest on cleanup efforts and power outages.
Thousands of people waking up without power this morning here in one of the hardest hit neighborhoods in Arlington. Power crews came out bright and early to start working on getting that power restored. But as you can see here from this damage, there's a lot of work to be done.
It's very frustrating.
Frustrating to have to live without power and during a heat wave.
Luckily, we got a little bit of a break. It wasn't as hot as it was, but it's been tough.
John Breslin and his wife toughed it out at home, but many of their neighbors went to stay at a nearby hotel. Once power is restored, Breslin has another hurdle, damage to his car from a fallen tree.
I've thought about cleaning it, but I'm worried about power lines and stuff, so I'm just going to wait and be patient.
Across the DMV, downed trees caused issues and closed roadways. Crews continuously work to clear the debris. The main issue after roads are all reopened will be for homeowners like Breslin who have damage. Well, Dominion Energy tells me they expect the power to be restored here by sometime tonight. They say if you are living somewhere that doesn't show up on that power outage map, make sure that you're reporting the outage so that they can get to you and make sure you have power as well. In Arlington, I'm Lex Juarez, DC News Now.
All right, Lex, thank you. In D.C. and Maryland combined, a little under 5,000 people are without power. PEPCO is working around the clock to restore power. Coming up this afternoon at 4, we're going to be back in Virginia with volunteers from the Red Cross to follow up on the storm cleanup happening across the region. And Alert DC is sharing some storm cleanup advice on getting rid of limbs and other tree debris. Placed down limbs or debris in the tree box area or the space between the curb and the sidewalk. DC says that you should not put tree limbs in the trash. And if your household is serviced by DPW, you can always put in a request at 311. And because of those downed trees, roads remain closed this afternoon. We're seeing slow-ups across the area. DC News Now's traffic anchor Shanika Grimshaw has more.
Well, that's right. Weekend storm damage really impacting your Monday travels. Now, we're going to start on GW Parkway. So you cannot get through. We're looking at it between the Beltway and the Key Bridge. That's pretty much the whole parkway there. You're seeing purple. So that indicates you cannot get through. You can take eastbound 66 toward Arlington or toward Reagan National Airport if you want to get around this mess. But again, it is closed because of a storm damage there and cleanup efforts underway. Here's another area where you're going to see some road closure. So this is in Glen Echo. We have a fallen tree in the middle of the roadway. So that's off of MacArthur Boulevard heading south past Wilson Lane. We have more issues out there. Loughborough Avenue east between MacArthur and Indian Lane. We have another closure with storm debris and cleanup underway off of Canal Street, and that is heading south right between Reservoir and Foxhall Road. So do expect some issues in those areas. Now on Mass Avenue, that's heading north right between Florida and Sheridan Circle. Expect some delays there. They're working on clearing a fallen tree in the middle of the roadway. No word on when these roadways will reopen.
Shanika, thank you. And with homes damaged after the storm, the price for repairs could add up significantly. Homeowners and drivers with insurance will start filing claims to help cover the cost. DC News Now's anchor and consumer reporter Ben Dennis joins us to walk us through the most important steps to take right now. And Ben, a lot of people are stressed out, and this is very disruptive, but documenting damage is very important.
That's absolutely true. Disruption from the destruction, from cars turned into tin cans and homes toppled with trees, breaking windows and covering those sidewalks. The unexpected burden to pay for repairs is indeed stressful. But that's why we're helping you stretch your dollar, giving you several options to make sure you get what you are owed by insurance companies. You can start by filing an insurance claim by taking several steps. NerdWallet says, first, review your policy. Check your deductible. If it's, for example, $1,000, but there's damage worth $10,000, your insurer should pay $9,000. Then call your insurer to report the damage. Document heavily with photos and videos, especially if there's an ongoing leak. Take those videos. This can ensure proof of damage as you work to clean up your home or business or before your cars are towed. And if you want someone to verify the full extent of the damage, you could consider hiring a claims examiner. They're state-credentialed professionals who interpret your policy, document damage, and conduct interviews. And according to Business Insider, they say that public adjusters, those public adjusters we just mentioned, will charge between 5% and 20% of your final settlement, depending on the scope of work. But key here, states have different rules for what adjusters can charge you. So we looked at the local laws. In Maryland, there's no law stipulating this. The amount an adjuster can charge is negotiable. But in Virginia, adjusters cannot charge you more than 10% of settlement proceeds. Same goes for DC, a 10% cap on what you're charged. And while you may pay to hire a public adjuster, note that they work for you and not the insurance company. Companies have adjusters of their own. And to verify you're getting a reputable adjuster, get your adjuster's license number and search for them on your state government websites. So hiring someone yourself may give you peace of mind. Mark, back to you at the desk.
All right, Ben, thank you so very much. Very, very important information. DC's mayor right now surveying damage in the district. We'll be back at 12:30 and again at 4 with more on storm cleanup and recovery efforts in the DMV. And to stay weather aware 24/7, download the DC Weather Now app on your phone. Just scan the QR code on your screen to download, and you can also visit our website, dcnewsnow.com. The University of Virginia football team is returning to the field with heavy hearts as they begin fall camp without teammates Lavelle Davis Jr., Deshaun Perry, and Devin Chandler. You may remember the three players were killed in a shooting last November. Former players charged in their deaths as they get ready to return for a new season. Running back Mike Hollins, who survived the shooting, is trying to earn a starting spot on the depth chart. On Friday, Hollins shared this message of hope. We don't have to go out or try to overdo ourselves or overwork or go undefeated or win a championship just to justify their legacy. I think we just need to show up, wake up every day, returning to practice and returning to the field and the locker room, and just continuing to be a team in their honor is doing their legacy really well in itself. UVA starts their season September 2nd against Tennessee. And coming up, we're stretching your dollar with some back-to-school discounts on supplies and